Testing 1, 2, 3.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the City of Toronto Scarborough District Committee of Adjustment. We apologize for the delay in getting started. We were encountering some technical issues. Today is April 4th, 2023. Due to COVID-19, Committee of Adjustment public hearings are being conducted virtually by electronic means through WebEx Webinar, which is an online digital platform and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using the WebEx webinar, which is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on the YouTube channel. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All participants will automatically be muted upon entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you please mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to a panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5 minutes allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Members of the public and applicants are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. Before we begin, we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is now called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that applies to a property, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consents to sever properties to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on any application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and an email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, the TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal, the OLT. However, the provincial government recently amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. As of November 28, 2022, only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies, as those terms are defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. In terms of the hearing procedure, I will call each item in the order as it's listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or the applicant may proceed with a presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or the agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you're reaching the 5 minutes. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The agent or the applicant will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to the proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised to ensure that the new or the revised application is accurate and that all those who are entitled to receive the notice of application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or in opposition to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentations. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or the agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion, and then the application will be taken into committee for a decision. Before we begin, I would like to receive confirmation of minutes of the last meeting, and I require a motion to adopt the minutes. Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I put forward motion for approval of minutes of our last meeting.
Thank you, and may I have a seconder? Member Gary, please go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair, I second that motion to adopt minutes.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion? The motion is carried and the minutes of the last meeting have been adopted. Committee members and staff, are there any declarations of interest or panel or staff for items listed in the morning slot? So I would like to declare that I have a conflict of interest on item number 11. The agent is an acquaintance of mine. So this is item number 10. Are there any other conflicts of interest? I see none. Staff? There are none from staff as well. Mr. Deputy Secretary Treasurer, for the items that are listed in the morning time slot, items 1 to 20, are there any requests for deferral?
Through the chair, there are none.
Thank you. There are no deferral requests for items 1 to 20 that are listed on the agenda during the morning slot. All right, we will now begin with the vetting of the agenda. I'm going to start with item number 1. Item 1 is 173 CANLISH Road, and I see there are no registered speakers. Can I please have the agent Kaushik Suthar, please? Is the applicant online? Colin, I can't see staff at the back.
The committee members, I am the Kaushik Suthar representing the 173 CANLISH Road for this minor variance applications.
Thank you, Kaushik. Do you have any questions or comments at this time?
No, I think so. All the three variants is minor in the natures, and I would like to give if you have any questions, I will give the answers. I am happy to give the answers and clarify them.
Thank you, Kaushik. Before I go to the committee, I just want to ask, have you had a chance to look at the conditions of urban forestry, and do you have any comments or concerns? Okay.
Yeah, I go through the committee of the urban forestry condition number 2.
And you have no concerns or
No,
okay.
no.
Thank you. Committee members, do you have any questions for Kaushik or any comments on the application at this time? I see none. Oh, Member Said, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment on that. In my opinion, the 3 variances mentioned or before the committee, they are minor in nature and very appropriate. If there is no other comments from the members, I would be happy to support this application.
Please go ahead. I do not see any questions from any committee members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I put forward motion for approval of item 1, subject to the urban forestry condition number 2.
Thank you. And may I have a seconder, please? Member Igor, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll second that motion with the conditions as stated.
Thank you. And all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried unanimously and application for 173 CANLISH Road has been approved, subject to condition of urban forestry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move to item number 2. Item number 2 is 18 Sherwood Avenue. And I would like to mention that there is a registered speaker on this application, so we will hold down item number 2 for 18 Sherwood Avenue and come back to it for further discussion. Next item is item 3, which is 9 Tall Pines Court. 9 Tall Pines Court. I would like to state here that there are a number of registered speakers on this application. So we will hold down this application for further discussion. So item 3 for 9 Tall Pines Court is being held for further discussion. We now move to item number 4. Item 4 is 50 Dennett Drive. I do not see any registered speakers here. So I guess we can call upon the applicant, and the applicant is Ken Tai. Is the applicant online? Thank you.
I'm Ken, and committees, I'm Ken Tai from Tai Architects. My address is 12 Rosemount Avenue, Markham.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. So we're looking at your application for 50 Dennett Drive. Ken, have you had a chance to look at the community planning staff report?
Yep.
And do you have any questions or concerns with the recommended condition should the committee approve it?
I have no issues. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Committee members, do you have any questions for Ken at this time? I see none. All right. If there are no further questions or comments, may I please have a motion? Member Ann, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I recommend approval of the application for 50 Dennett Drive. It seems it's appropriate, and they're very minor items.
Okay, thank you. And may I have a
Oh,
second?
sorry, subject to the condition of urban planning, that they build in accordance with the design shown.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor from Member Macaulay to approve the application subject to the condition that has been recommended by community planning in the staff report. May I have a seconder? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second the motion for approval, and there is a condition of community planning.
Thank you. And all in favor of the motion? The motion is carried unanimously and the application is approved subject to condition. Thank you.
Thank
Item
you.
4 has been approved. Okay, moving to item number 5. There are no registered speakers. Can I please have the applicant Mitchell May, please? Thank you. Mitchell, are you online with us?
Mitchell May from Jimo Architects, speaking as the agent for 85 Silver Springs.
Thank you, Mitchell. Your application for 85 Silver Springs Boulevard, I do not see there are any conditions of approval here. Committee members, do you have any questions or comments at this time for Mitchell? Member Said, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a concern on one of the variants. I hope we can do it in the voting session. If not, we can continue later. Madam Chair, my concern is about the 55 square meter of existing amenity space that will be totally taken off, and there will be 0 amenity space left for the residents. So I would like the applicant to let us know what's the good justifications for that.
So you basically would like to have more information and justification. So that requires a little bit more time. So I would suggest that we hold on this item for further discussion.
That's perfect, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So Mitchell, you heard one of the members have a concern or question regarding your application or the requested variance. So we will hold down this item and come back to it for further discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving to the next item, item number 6. Item 6 is 314 Morrish Road, 314 Morrish Road. And I make a note that there is a speaker who's registered to speak on this item, so we will hold down this item. So item 6 for 314 Morrish Road is being held for further discussion. Item 7, 38 BOBMAR Road. There are no registered speakers, so we have the agent, Kranal Jayani. Is Kranal with us? Thank you. Hello, Kunal. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Morning, Kunal. Kunal, we have your application before us for 38 BOBMAR. The Urban Forestry Department has recommended a refusal of the application. They have some concerns with the application. We would like to further discuss this with you, and hence we will hold down this item and come back to it for further discussion.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So item number 7 for 38 BOBMAR Road is being held for further discussion. Item number 8 is 25 CROUSE Road. I note that there are no registered speakers. Can we please have Marius, the agent on this application? Marius, are you with us? Hello, Marius. Okay, so Marius, you're with us. Hello?
Through the chair, Marius, please stop pressing any button. We will be unmuting you from our end.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you.
Apologies for that. I was trying to unmute myself, but it wasn't working there. So I kept pressing on it.
Okay.
But I am here with you.
Perfect. Thank you, Marius. Good morning. So Marius, we have your application for 25 CROUSE Road, and it was previously deferred at the March 9th hearing so that you had the opportunity to correctly identify all the requested variances. I don't believe there are any recommended conditions from any department or agency. Do you have any comment at this time?
The only comments I have is, in our opinion, the proposal meet the 4 tests under section 45. We've been proceeding through a site plan approval application with the city since August of 2019. There's been reviewed and accepted transportation and loading studies and building elevations. And that's pretty much it. We do have a presentation as far as that.
Okay, and you're probably going through a site plan application with community planning?
Yes, correct. It's still
Okay,
ongoing.
all right. Perfect, thank you. Committee members, do you have any questions for Marius? Member Said, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question to you, Marius. My straightforward question is, are you adding any parkings for this 3-story additional building? The reason I am asking this question is I was looking the decision 2005 Committee of Adjustment, and at that point of time, this property was short of parking spaces, and that was approved. With this addition, are you meeting the parking requirements and standards?
Correct, we are. There's basically, based on the new zoning bylaw, there's no minimum requirements anymore. So therefore, we are meeting the requirements.
So the parking requirements are being met, Member Said?
Yes.
Is that all? Okay, all right. Thank you, Marius, for that clarification. If there are no further questions or comments from any committee member, could you please proceed with a motion? Member Igor, please go ahead.
Hi, Madam Chair. I propose a motion of approval subject to no conditions. Is that correct?
Thank you. And may I have a seconder, please? Member Gary, please go ahead.
Yes, I second that motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried unanimously and the application has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, we now move to item number 9. And item number 9 is for 122 Marble Arch Crescent. There are no registered speakers. Can we please have the agent Saba Al-Matno? Okay, Saba, are you with us?
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Saba Al-Matno from QBS Architects. I'm the agent.
Thank you, Saba. Saba, we have your application before us. Urban Forestry has recommended a condition of approval. Are you aware of that condition, and do you have any
Yes, I
concerns
am.
or questions about it?
No concerns.
Thank you. Committee members, do you have any questions or comments for Saba? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a comment. I appreciated the very detailed explanation of the applicant as to why they were making these changes to accommodate their grandparents and the need for accessibility. So it helped, given all that information. I just want to thank the applicant for providing the additional information. And if there is no other issues, I'm prepared to recommend approval.
I do not see any further questions. Please go ahead, Member Macaulay.
Recommend approval for the variances for 122 Marble Arch Crescent. I don't see any conditions.
There is.
Urban forestry condition.
Okay, so motion to approve subject to condition of urban forestry. May I have a seconder? Member McKay, please go ahead.
Yes, Madam Chair, I second that motion to approve with that condition.
Thank you. And all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried unanimously, and the application for 122 Marble Arch Crescent has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item 10 is 115 Catalina Drive, and as noted, I have a conflict, so I will request Member Macaulay to chair this item for me, please, as I step away. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 10 is for 115 Catalina Drive. The applicant is Nadine Irfan. Is Nadine available? Do we have Nadine?
Through the chair, sorry, we're having some technical difficulty.
I'm sorry, we're having technical difficulties. If you just wait for a few minutes.
Hi there. Hi, Madam Chair, this is Nadeem Irfan, architect.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Okay. This is an application for 115 Catalina Drive to construct a two-story with a basement walkout, and it has a number of variances. Do you wish to make a presentation?
I'm okay, Madam Chair. If if any questions by the members are there, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. I see we have letters of support. Does any of the members have any questions? Mohammed, would you please proceed?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a comment and a question. My comment is that I feel the four variances before the committee, they are minor in nature. It's my opinion. There is a urban forestry condition number 1. If Nadeem is aware of that, and Mr. Nadeem, would you like to acknowledge that condition?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm aware of the urban forestry condition number 1, and I acknowledge it.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else, Mr.?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm okay with that. Thanks, Nadine.
Thank you, sir.
Do I have a motion? Mohammed?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I said, the variances before the committee, there are 4 variances. Main wall height and second story platform size, first floor platform height, and FSI. I believe these variances are minor in nature and appropriate, and the applicant has already acknowledged urban forestry condition number 1. So, Madam Chair, I would put forward motion for approval of item number 10, subject to urban forestry condition number 1.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Igor. All in favor? Thank you. That item is carried. Thank you, Nadine.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
To all those listening and viewing, please allow us a couple of minutes. We are experiencing a technical glitch. We're sorting it out and we'll be with you shortly. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We are now going to start with item number 11. Item 11 is 90 Phillip Avenue. For 90 Phillip Avenue, I note that there is a neighbor who has registered to speak, so we will hold down item number 11 for further discussion. Item 11 for 90 Phillip Avenue is being held. Item 12, 203 Conlins Road. There are no registered speakers. Can I please have the agent Yasu Somalingam, please, online? All right, Yasu, you're with us?
Yes, Madam Chair, my name is Yasso Somalingam. I'm the authorized agent on this application.
Thank you, Yasu. We have your application before us. Have you had a chance to review the conditions that have been recommended by Urban Forestry and Metrolinx?
Yes, Madam Chair, we are okay with those conditions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Committee members, do you have any questions or comments for Yasu? This is 203 Conlins Road.
Through the chair, it's only urban forestry conditions for item 12.
So what about the Metrolinx to grant environmental easement and insert warning clause? Is that just?
That's not for item 12.
Sorry?
I don't believe.
I'm sorry. Yes, that was for item 11. My apologies for that. It's only urban forestry condition number 2. My apologies for that. Sorry, Yasu, for that. Committee members, any questions? Okay. All right. If there are no questions or comments, can I please have a motion? Igor, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll put forward a motion for approval subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Thank you. And may I have a seconder, please? Member Mohammed, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I second the motion, and I see there is a condition of community planning staff report.
No.
There is none.
It's only urban forestry.
Okay. So, Madam Chair, I second the motion subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Thank you. So that was the seconder. On all in favor of this motion? The motion's carried and the application has been approved subject to condition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We now go to item number 13, and item 13 is for 21 Old Kingston Road. I note that there are no registered speakers. However, we have the agent with us, Nitin Malhotra. Nitin, are you with us? All right, thank you. Hello, Nitin.
Yes, hello, Madam Chair. Yeah, my name is Nitin Malhotra. I'm the principal architect of the firm N Architecture Inc., and we are also the applicants on this file.
Thank you, Nitin, for taking the time to speak with us this morning. Nitin, there is a recommended condition of approval from community planning. Have you had a chance to review that condition, and do you have any concerns or questions on that?
Well, Madam Chair, I just want some clarification, right? Because there are a number of variances listed out. So first of all, I have no issues with the conditions. I think the conditions that staff is posing is that our drawings have to be in substantial conformance with the approved site plan. So no issues on that front whatsoever. However, the number of variances that the staff has listed out in their report, I just want to double check, because it's a formal process, and the least thing we want to do is, come back in front of the committee to just, yes, if we missed something, so.
No, that's a very good point, although I would say that it should not be of any relevance, but I think it's good to have that clarification. So if I look at your public notice for 21 Old Kingston Road, I see 2 variances. Correct? Do you have the public notice on this with you? And
so
perhaps
I think
staff can pull it up on the screen?
Yes.
Sorry.
No,
There's
no,
4?
please.
There are
Yeah.
4 variances, actually.
4, okay.
No, there's 2.
Oh, just 2.
Colin, there's only 2. There's so the first variance relates to clause 6 for West Hill zoning bylaw. For canopies and projections must be, staff, can you please pull up the notice on the screen so that we're looking at the same thing? So Nitin, give us a moment. We will pull it up. I guess because they are sort of There's a few within each. Maybe
That's
that's what's
right.
causing the confusion here, but we will get that
Well,
clarification
and
in a
also, yes, Madam Chair, we actually have 3 variances because we went about, applying for variances based on the zoning certificate that we had received from the city zoning department. And we got a letter from the staff saying that, they've kind of approved all the, variances we have applied for. And looking at the report, I think they've missed the 3rd variance. The 3rd variance is that all the mailboxes need to have a canopy because they're not deemed part of landscape. And it's a Canada Post mailbox. We can't put any canopy. So that variance is not showing up on the report.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's have the public notice on the screen so that you can confirm that those are the variances. And if there's something missing, then we will speak to that after that. So staff is trying to pull up the notice on the screen.
Right.
Just bear with us for a second. We're experiencing some technical issues since this morning, so things are a little slow today.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, perfect. So Nathan, can you see the screen?
I can barely let me maximum. Yeah, okay, I can. It's rather small,
No,
but
we're getting it. We're
Okay.
zooming. We're trying to make it larger for you.
Right.
Okay, so so this is, Wi-Fi is gone.
Could I ask if staff can put up the zoning review?
I think we lost the Wi-Fi connections. Everything's gone. Nathan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, Madam Chair. I can
Okay.
hear you. Yeah.
We seem to be losing Wi-Fi at our end, but we'll carry on. I can't see anyone on the screen.
Through the chair, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Give us a moment to restore our Wi-Fi connection. Thank
Sure,
you.
no problem. So just do this.
Trying to make that. All right.
So your internet is not, and this is your WebEx.
Mobile WebEx. So. Here.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Our apologies once again. We are experiencing a lot of issues today with technology, so please bear with us, and thank you for your patience. So Nathan, just want to check, you're with us, right?
Yes, Madam Chair, I am, yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you for your patience today, Nathan. So Nathan, what we have on the screen is a portion of the zoning review that was completed by the Toronto Building, and it shows the particular clause related to landscaping, I believe. And is this the one that you were referring to that has not been included?
That's correct.
Okay, so from what I understand, and I just checked with staff, and staff can confirm as well, I think this is just like a comment, an advisory comment. It's not a variance that has been identified. Staff, can you please confirm that, Colin?
Through the chair, Committee of Adjustment staff cannot provide zoning interpretations, but it appears that it's not a variance that's being requested. It doesn't indicate whether I guess the proposal is in compliance or not compliance, or what variance is being requested. It appears to be commentary. Should the applicant wish to clarify that with Toronto Buildings, they may wish to request deferral, or they can proceed with the variances as indicated in the public hearing notice.
Okay. So Nathan, that's for you to confirm with us. But before I do, Kelly, can you please pull up the public notice so that we have all of us are on the same page with respect to what's on the public notice? Perfect. Just leave it. Thank you. So, Nathan, this is what we have on the public notice. There are two variances, each with sort of subsets of regulations related to canopies, unenclosed front porch, second floor railing projection, third floor balcony, and fourth floor roof platform. And then the second variance pertains to driveway, where parking spaces are located in the rear yard. So that entrance driveway of that street. This is what we have on the public notice. The one that you think that could potentially have been related to landscaping is not on the notice. So how would you like to proceed? Are you comfortable with proceeding what's on the public notice, or would you rather request the committee to defer the application, go back, have that clarification from Toronto Building, and then come back?
I think we would prefer to defer, Madam Chair, at this stage. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
committee, the applicant would like to defer the application to further confirm the required variances for this application. Any questions or comments from any committee member? I see none. All right. So Nathan, as you've requested for deferral, I am now going to come to the committee member to put forward a motion for deferral of this application, as we just heard. Member Said, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we heard, the applicant has requested for deferral of this application. Madam Chair, I agree with that. I support and I put forward motion for deferral of item number 13.
Thank you very much. And may I have a seconder, please? Member Igor, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll second that motion for deferral.
Thank you. And all in favor of this motion? The motion's carried and the application has been deferred to provide the applicant an opportunity to confirm and identify all the variances. Thank you, Nathan, for your patience today.
Thank you.
We now move to item 14. Item 14 from staff has just advised me that the owner is unable to attend the hearing today. Instead, we have the agent Zamal Hussain, who would like to represent the owner. Can we please have Zamal Hussain online with us? Thank you. Hello, Zamal, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here with you guys.
Thank you. So this is item 14. We're dealing with 67 Mystic Avenue. Zamal, have you had a chance to review the conditions from urban forestry?
Yes, we did.
Okay, perfect. And you have no concerns or questions on that?
I don't have any concern. This is only one variances. So basically, we start the construction.
Yeah.
And we had to do a little bit of extra canopy on the front. So that's why the coverage was increased by 1.4%. This is the only variance we had, nothing else in this one.
That is correct. There's only one variance asking for a lot coverage of 34.4 as compared to 33 that's permitted. But the condition of urban forestry is related to the completion of a permit to injure or remove a city-owned tree. And you have mentioned that you have no concern with that condition. On that note, may I request the committee members for any comments or concerns? I see none. Igor, please go ahead.
I can put forward a motion, Madam Chair.
Please go ahead.
I'll put forward a motion for approval of item 14, subject to urban forestry condition number 1.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I will second that motion.
All in favor of the motion? The motion is carried and the application has been approved subject to condition of urban forestry. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We now go to item 15, and I would like to ask the committee if it's okay to deal with item 15 and 16 together for 520A Birchmount Road and 520B Birchmount Road. All right. Thank you. Can we please have Peter Jerusik online? Thank you. Peter, you with us?
Good morning, committee. It's Peter Jerusik from Arc Design Group.
Thank you, Peter. So we're dealing with both item 15 and 16 together as they pertain to the two properties abutting each other. We understand that there are two variances for each of the lots. Any comments at this time, Peter?
Yeah, we already have severance and variances, and during the process, we realized there was an error made where they took the road widening. We never adjusted the lot area size. So this is just to correct that issue.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Committee members, do you have any questions or concerns? The only thing I would confirm with you, Peter, is there's the condition recommended by urban forestry. Do you have any questions on that?
No issues.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, if there are no questions or comments, can I please have a motion? Member Said, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I will move the motion for approval of both these item 15 and 16 together, subject to urban forestry condition number 3.
Thank you. And seconder, please. Member McKay, please go ahead.
Yes, I second that motion to approval.
Thank you. And all in favor of this motion? The motion's carried unanimously and the application has been approved subject to condition of urban forestry for both 15 and 16.
Thank you very much.
We now move to item 17. Item 17 is for 34 Waltoness Road. And I note that there is a speaker registered to speak with us today. So we will hold down this item and come back. So item 17 for 34 Waltoness Road is being held for further discussion. Item 18 is 150 NASHDENE Road. There are no registered speakers. Can I please have the agent, Michael Taylor? Hello, Michael, you're with us?
Yes, hello. I'm Michael Taylor from Taylor Smythe Architects. I'm the agent for the owner.
Thank you, Michael, for meeting us today. We have your application for 150 NASHDENE Road. And there are conditions of urban forestry. And are you aware of that condition?
Yes, I am, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, perfect. Committee members, do you have any questions or comments for Michael? I see none. Okay. Oh, member Said, go ahead, please.
Madam Chair, just a question from Mr. Taylor. The variances before the committee, I was just wondering, are these the existing conditions or these are coming up because of the renovation and modifications there?
No, these are the existing conditions of the parking lot, which is not 3 meters from the lot line. So we're just we're renovating and bringing the parking lot up to proper barrier-free standards and all of that. So we're just asking to be allowed to leave the parking lot where it is.
Does that help?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Michael. If there are no further questions or comments, can I have a motion, please? Member Said, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the clarification. And Madam Chair, there is a condition of urban forestry there. With that, I put forward motion for approval of item 18, subject to urban forestry condition number 2.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay, go ahead, please.
Madam Chair, I will second that motion.
Thank you. And all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried unanimously and the application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We now move to item 19, and item 19 is 1275 Kennedy Road. There are no speakers registered to speak on this application. Can I please have Martin Rendell, the agent? Thank you. Martin, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Martin, we can
Hello?
very faintly hear you.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we can hear you well now. We knew you were there, but we couldn't hear you. We can hear you now. Thank you. So, Martin, we have your application for 1275 Kennedy Road. The application has been amended, and the amended notice is on the agenda. We also have your cover letter received and the updated information. Are you aware of the recommended condition of approval from community planning?
Yes, I am.
And do you have any comments or concerns or questions for that condition?
I respectfully request that it not be imposed. I think it's not necessary.
Okay, and let's pull up the condition that has been requested. And it says that the proposed additional uses be limited to industrial, retail, and vehicle service garages uses only for a temporary period of 5 years. So your concern is with the suggestion or the recommendation for the sunset clause or the sunset timing of it?
Yes.
Okay. Committee members, the applicant has some concerns with the recommended condition. Any comments, thoughts at this time, or would you like to hold it for further discussion? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'm prepared to amend that variance to delete the requirement that the additional uses are only for 5 years. I think the uses that are proposed are reasonable. I don't see why we have to put in a requirement for 5 years.
Okay, so just to clarify, you're amending or you wish to proceed with an amendment to the recommended condition, not the variance. So
That's
the
correct.
variances as presented, in your opinion, are minor in nature and meet the test, but you are suggesting that the recommended condition from community planning be amended to remove the temporary period of 5 years.
That is correct.
Okay, all right.
Much better said.
Okay, are there any further questions or comments? Are we prepared to proceed with the motion?
Madam Chair, can I ask for a clarification?
Please.
So the condition is the condition on this item, is it twofold? One is the additional uses to limit to industrial, retail, and vehicle services, and also for a temporary period of 5 years, or are those two conditions in one go, or is that just one condition? So eliminating the 5 years eliminates the entire condition is my question.
That's a very good question. So from what I understand, the community planning staff report in the recommendation includes the uses as being requested through the variances. So there is no concern with that portion of it. The portion that is of concern to Member Macaulay or to the applicant is the temporary imposition of the 5 years.
Yeah.
So should the committee wish to proceed with this, and should the committee move with the motion to approve it, we don't necessarily have to include this condition in its entirety.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I believe the applicant has agreed with the revised uses.
That is
His
correct.
only concern is the temporary period of 5 years.
That is correct. Okay. Does that help you, Member Igor?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right. So if no further comments or questions, then can I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I'm prepared to move the application as amended
No,
for
the application, yes, sorry, go ahead.
the application as amended for the 3 uses that the applicant has revised with the deletion of the proposed temporary period for 5 years.
We don't have to include that. You just have to approve the variances.
Okay. I recommend approval of the variances. There are no conditions.
As amended, okay. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the minor variance application as amended, and there are no conditions. May I have a seconder, please? Member Igor, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll second that motion for approval.
Right, and all in favor of the motion? And
Madam Chair, I think we might want to do a audio roll call of that vote.
because of the video interruption, okay. So I will do a I will ask for recorded vote in this case because of video issues. I'll start with Member McKay.
I'm in favor of the motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Member Saeed?
I am in favor.
And I'm also in favor. The motion was put forward by Member McCauley. Member Igor seconded it, and all in favor of this motion. So the motion's carried and the application's approved. Thank you. Should we pause for a second to fix the Wi-Fi internet issue, or can we carry on?
Yeah. Through the chair, I would suggest keep proceeding and then just do show of hands and audio for the, and then go back to, I guess, revetting.
Thank you. So because we're at the last item for vetting for the morning session or the agenda, we will continue going. And then if we have to take a pause to fix technology, then we'll deal with it. So we will now move to item 20. We're vetting the agenda. Item 20 is 87 Howell Square. 87 Howell Square. Can I please have the agent, Joe Domb, please. Joe, are you with us? Hello, Joe.
133 Torresdale Avenue, agent for the owner.
Thank you very much, Joe. We have your application for 87 Howell Square. And I do note that there is a condition from Urban Forestry. Do you have any concerns with that condition of approval recommended by Urban Forestry?
No.
Okay, so you have no concerns. Okay. Members of the committee, do you have any questions or comments on this application for 87 Howell Square?
Through the chair, given that we've lost video, you're gonna have to ask each.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
I will. So I'm going to start with Member Saeed. Member Saeed, any questions or comments?
I don't have any questions or comment, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Member Igor?
I don't have any questions.
Member McKay?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Member McCauley?
No questions, Madam Chair.
And I have no questions as well. On that, are we prepared for a motion? Who would like to vote? Okay, Member Saeed, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I put forward motion for approval of item 20, subject to Urban Forestry condition number 1.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member McKay, please go ahead.
Yes, second that motion to approve with that condition.
Okay, Member McKay seconds the motion to approve the application. All in favor of this motion? I'll start with Member Igor. Member Igor?
I approve, Madam Chair.
Member McCauley?
I approve.
All right, and I'm also in favor of this motion. So the motion's carried unanimously and the application has been approved subject to condition. So that brings us to the end of the morning session agenda. And at this point, I would like to take a break to address some of the technology issues that we're experiencing, and we are all disconnected from the webinar at this point. So we're going to take a break and come back, and thank you for your patience. So welcome back, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We will begin with the deliberations on the items that were held. But before we do, I can recap the items so that everyone can be ready with their applications. So item 2 was held, item 3, item 5, item 6, item 7, item 11, item 17. Perfect. Okay. So we'll start with the first item that was held, and that is item number 2 for 18 Sherwood Avenue. And we held it because there were registered speakers on this application. So we'll begin with our agent, Faizan Akhtar. Are you with us, Faizan?
Still good morning. Good morning, honorable members of the committee.
Thank you, Faizan, for joining us this morning. Faizan, we have your application to construct a new dwelling, and there are 7 variances that have been requested. Do you have any comments at this time, or would you like to make a presentation?
Yeah, I'll make a quick presentation here. So
Do you have 5 minutes, Faizan? So I'll let you know when your time's coming up. So you can go ahead.
My name is Faizan Akhtar. I'm the applicant. I'm a family friend of the homeowner. He's sitting here with me. I'm speaking on his behalf. So we're proposing a 2-story dwelling with integral garage. The owner, they live in an extended family with their parents and grandparents. That's one of the reasons we're requiring that many variances. We're proposing variances for rear yard setback, lot coverages, some balconies on the main floor level, second floor levels, and there's a height variance as well. I had a chance to sit down with the homeowner himself, and we went through some of the comparables that were built in the neighborhood that have received similar variances. One of the main ones that we encountered was 1019 Pharmacy Avenue. It was a new 2-story home that was reviewed by the committee members, and it was approved on December 8, 2021. They received the variances for the height, for the wall height. They actually went up to 10.03 meter for the total height of the structure. Their lot coverage was at 39%. A lot of these properties, they had the variances for the front yard setback. Here we have pushed the house back, so there's no. I mean, we didn't want to bring the house forward. It won't look as good for the street, for the neighborhood. So we pushed the house slightly backwards. That's the reason we're requiring the minimum. The rear yard setback to be modified slightly by 1.15 meter. The 2 rear balconies, it's for those 2 bedrooms are gonna be for the parents of the homeowner, and I mean they have some health concerns, so they required more open space. So that was one of the reasons to request the variance for 2 platforms on the second floor level towards the back. There are no side yard encroachments. So, I mean, that's about it. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Faizan, for your presentation. Committee members, any questions for Faizan?
Yeah. Madam Chair, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Can you just repeat, what was the example that you gave, the address one more time?
It was 1019 Pharmacy Avenue.
Thank you.
Are you good, Member Igor? Okay, perfect. Okay. If there are no further questions, I would like to proceed with speaking with the neighbor, and then we can always come back for more questions and comments if we have. So can I please have Kathy and William Chamberlain, please? Okay, thank you.
If there are no further questions, I would like to proceed with speaking with the neighbor.
Hello, Kathy and William, are you with us? Kathy and William, please mute all your other devices and speak in your microphone, please.
Hello?
Kathy? Yes, Kathy.
Yes, speaking.
Yes, so you have been signed in now to talk to the Committee of Adjustment. May I request you to please turn off all your other devices that you're not speaking into? Only have
Certainly,
the
yes.
device that you are.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Hello, committee, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm the homeowner at 15 Corton Drive, my husband and I, William. So we had sent a letter in to the committee ahead of time, but just in summary, we're sort of immediately adjacent to 18 Sherwood, and a lot of the variances the builder was just touching on sort of adversely affect us. The reason he's going back or he's stating is that he wants to keep the neighborhood, help it fit in a bit better. But again, that would affect us closer to our yard, and our most important concerns are for light. It would be on the southwest exposure, would totally block our yard, and the height of the building, especially with these balconies, would be overlooking our outside garden and family areas that we like to use. The exposure would be totally lost. So talk about our enjoyment of our yard, emotional health, entertaining, outside activities would all be affected by this giant shadow. And we could speak of our health concerns as well. Anyway, I just don't think it's a very good fit for the neighborhood, and it doesn't fit. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and hopefully the committee will take it into consideration. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kathy, for taking this time to speak with us. And I do acknowledge that we have your written submission with us as well. It was on the agenda, and we've all had the opportunity to read it and understand your concerns. At this point, committee members, do you have any? Okay, at this point, committee members, do you have any questions for Kathy? I see none. Okay, thank you, Kathy. And we will go back to the applicant and request him to address the concerns that you've raised.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Fazan, can you please provide a response to the concerns that have been laid out by Kathy in both her oral and written submission?
Yeah, hi. So I'm sitting here with the homeowner, Salahuddin. We reviewed the plans and I mean the neighbors' concerns. He's willing to actually eliminate the request for two platforms on the rear. The variance is the variance number 3. The maximum number of platforms on the second story. The proposal is for 2 platforms. He's right. I mean, he's willing to actually eliminate the request for variance on number 3.
Okay, so can staff please make a note of that? The applicant is requesting for or withdrawing variance number 3, which is related to the maximum number of platforms at or above the second story in the rear. And are these, just confirm with me, Fazan, are these both in the rear or front? These are both in the rear, right?
They're just both in the rear, yeah. So that that way it won't disturb the the privacy of the homeowner on the rear.
Okay. So you can, as of right, have one platform. You requested for two, and you're withdrawing that variance, correct?
Yeah, I'm withdrawing that variance.
Okay. All right. Anything more that you would like to address as raised by Kathy?
No, so I mean, we've reviewed the comparables that have been built in the neighborhood. 1019 Pharmacy Avenue was one of the examples that are provided. There's also 106 Surrey Avenue, which was a similar structure that was proposed. There were multiple variances that were requested, and they were all approved, subject to the forestry department's approval. I think here as well, we've actually sent an application for a permit to injure or remove a tree. So we're waiting from the forestry department.
That's a recommended condition. That's not a recommended condition, but okay. So you're working with the urban forestry to deal with the removal of the tree. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Committee members, any thoughts, any questions? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I note that you have a variance number 3, which is for two platforms on the rear wall, and you have deleted that. Variance number 4 states that the platform on the rear wall will encroach into the required rear yard setback. Is that also eliminated?
Oh yeah, that would be automatically eliminated, right? It's related to item number 3, so it's yeah, that would be eliminated as well, please.
Okay, thank you. So item number 3 is eliminated. Item number 4 is also eliminated. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Member Macaulay. It's for the encroachment of the platform.
That's right.
In the rear. So item 3 and variance 3 and 4 have been eliminated in their entirety. So we're left with variance 1, variance 2, variance 5, variance 6, and variance number 7. Okay, any further questions or clarification? Member Said, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fizan, in your presentation, you referred a few properties, especially on the Pharmacy Avenue 1019, the height. My concern is about the height of the building, and variance number 6 is speaking about that, almost 10 meter. Give me an idea, the height of the adjoining building to your property. What's their height?
They are currently a bungalow, so I mean, in the future, all these houses, they've passed their life limit, right? So pretty much the whole street will be redeveloped at some point, but currently they're actually bungalows.
Thank you, Fizan. That's my concern too. I was looking at the street view, and I found that there are many of them are like they are bungalows, like just the main floor. You could be the one, setting a precedent for the other developments coming up in the future. You are the only one, I think, in the neighborhood for the second story, which is allowed, and 9 meter is allowed height. But you know what? On both the side there are bungalows, on front there are bungalows, and now you are raising your building to 10 meter high, which is a concerning point for me. I mean, it should not be a precedent for the whole of the street when they come again to us. So could you further elaborate on that? Like, is there any other good reason for, or what's the triggering factor for this variance?
I mean, the homeowner wanted the design to be like that. He wanted more space for his family. It is I mean, there's gonna be quite a bit of people living in the house itself. About 10 people in the family. So they just wanted more open space.
If you look at the basement plan, basement floor, I think they're trying to create some habitable rooms and I would say like a unit on its own. I wouldn't say a unit, but there are some bedrooms being proposed, and I think they're trying to
Yeah.
increase the height of the, the basement floor to be able to accommodate that kind of ceiling height. And hence it's affecting the overall height of the building.
Yes, correct.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I was looking at that. Yes, they are looking for more space and create more bedrooms. But Madam Chair, in my opinion, the height is still a concern for me, especially in this street, the character of the street. And I am afraid this could be setting up a precedent for the future developments, going for 10-meter high buildings there, while all around nearby, all of them are bungalows. So my concern is still there.
So, I mean,
Does anyone want to
I'm
say
here with-
something?
Yeah, sorry. So I'm here with Salaudin, and he's proposing that they'll bring the height within the limit. That's all. I mean, it's within 9 meters. So, I mean, that's fine. We'll eliminate the we'll eliminate number 6 as well then.
What about number 7? That's related to the main walls, but I
Yeah,
think
that's just
if
the main
you
walls,
are,
right? Yeah. So the total height of
Okay.
the structure would still be within the limits.
Okay, so variance number 6 is being removed or being withdrawn by the applicant, and the height would continue to meet the zoning requirement.
Through the chair, just a point of clarification, is 7 being removed or just 6?
Sorry?
Is variance number 7 being removed?
No.
Okay.
Variance 7 will remain. They will just accommodate the main wall accordingly, but it's the total height of the building.
Okay, so just for the record, variances number 3, 4, and 6 are being eliminated.
Correct.
Yeah. The way the zoning notice is written is number 6 has 2 portions of it, 1 and 2, right? Only the full the item number
No,
1.
Fazan,
Sorry.
Fazan, on the public notice,
Oh, you have it as separate.
variance
Okay.
numbers, yeah, so it's on the screen. So variance number 6 pertains to the overall height of the building, which is what you are recommending to withdraw. And then item 7, or variance number 7, is related to the height of the main wall. So staff wanted to clarify whether that will remain or that is also being withdrawn. I mean,
No,
I'd say again, I'm not a design, I mean, I'm just here thinking that it may have an effect on the height of the main wall, because if you're increasing the height of the building, it may have an effect on the main wall height. But that's your decision to leave it as is, or do you want to make any changes?
No, so we'll only eliminate number 6, and number 7 we'll keep it as is.
Okay, Kelly, can you please zoom in a little bit more? So you want to keep it as is?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so variance number 7 will remain as is. So the only changes or the amendments are withdrawal of variance number 3, variance number 4, and variance number 6. Is that good for you, Igor? Okay, all right. And Fazan, what do you see on the screen? Can you please confirm that?
I confirm that.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that will help eliminate a lot of concerns that the neighbor had with regards to shadow and privacy and whatnot. So I appreciate the effort in amending the application to accommodate the neighbors. I think it's important that neighbors continue to work together, and because they have to live together.
Thank you so much.
Okay, on that note, any further questions or comments? I see none. All right. I take the matter into committee now. Committee members, if there are no further questions or comments, can I please have a motion? Member Said, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I will appreciate Fizan for your consideration, making the requisite amendments. So, Madam Chair, I put forward motion for approval of item 2 as amended, where variance number 3, 4, 6 has been taken out or deleted.
There are no conditions.
And there are no conditions for this approval.
Okay. May I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion.
Thank
And
you.
I thank the applicant for making those changes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. All in favor of the motion? The motion is carried unanimously and the application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We now move to item number 3, and item number 3 is for 9 Tall Pines Court. And I note that there are several speakers on this application to speak, but can I please have the agent Jasbir Johal? Hello, Jasbir, you're with us?
Hello. Hi, Madam Chair.
Hi, good afternoon, Jasbir. So we have your application for 9 Tall Pines Court, and I believe this application was previously deferred in December to allow you to identify all the requested variances. So now we have before us 3 variances that are listed on the public notice. And how would you like to go about? Would you like to make a presentation or go straight to questions and or hear the speakers?
Madam Chair, I would like a few minutes to do a quick presentation and explain the deferral. And
Sure,
then
please.
I'll be happy to take any questions.
Okay, so you have 5 minutes, Jasbir, and your time starts now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and all members. My name is Jasbir Johal, and I am the applicant for the application at 9 TALLPINE Court. My wife is she's a registered early childhood educator in the province of Ontario. And we had previously put an application in December. We requested for deferral because there were errors on the zoning notice. Minor variances were calculated wrong, so we would have been going for the wrong variances. The new variances were calculated, and now on the current notice, we have all the right variances that we're requesting. And I believe the variances are very minor in nature. I have submitted a report, a detailed report to support my findings. And I believe the use of a daycare, well, under the current zoning, the use of a daycare is allowed. And we have gone around the neighborhood, and our application is supported by many neighbors. 2 neighbors did have a concern that they submitted in writing, and they're not related to the minor variances. But we did address their concern as well. We hired a certified traffic engineer. They have done a report. I have attached the report to the online submissions. In the report, the engineers concluded, and I quote, based on this transportation summary, the proposed development should be approved from a transportation perspective. To briefly speak on our current 3 variances that we have requested, we are located on a corner property. And so our lot lines, whether it be the front yard, the rear yard, they all got calculated on an angle, and which is impacting our calculations. So one of zoning variances is about the playground being in the front yard. So we're partially in the front yard. The rear yard minimum required soft landscaping is 50%, and we are at 47%. And the shed is 0.3 from the lot line instead of 1 meter. Overall, I believe this proposal is a good fit for the community. The daycare will help enhance and strengthen the character of the neighborhood. The proposal shows a good example of mixed-use planning, which already exists in this neighborhood. I've attached pictures of different properties that exist. There are rehab homes, care homes, religious institute that all exist in this neighborhood. This daycare will fit well into the fabric of the neighborhood. The community planning did submit a report recently, and they commented that should the committee of adjustment approve this decision, they want the approval tied to the site plan. We're more than happy to accept a condition. And just to support the variance a little bit more, from my report, point number 7, I would like to quickly read it. More licensed daycares are required in the city of Toronto. There's a report that Toronto City published, Toronto Licensed Child Care Growth Strategy, from which it states by 2026, Toronto will have to create 30,000 additional spaces in order to provide childcare to 50% of children under 4. Number 8, I wanted to say that the 4 tests, which for the variances are maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan, maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw, be desirable for the appropriate development of land use, and minor, the variances that are requested are minor. I believe that our variances that are requested are very minor. Number 9, I've given an example from the official plan, section 4.1 of that states that neighborhood are considered physically stable areas made of residential uses in lower scale buildings. And this paragraph goes on to talk about how low scale local institute play an important role in the rhythm of daily life neighborhoods and includes such uses as school, place of worship, community center, libraries, day nurseries, and private home cares. So the official plan therefore treats daycare center as local institutions which play an important role in the rhythm of daily life in low density residential areas. The official plan does not consider them to be undesirable or unsuitable, but rather a use which is appropriate as it plays an important role. The zoning bylaw also anticipates a use in an area designated as neighborhood, and the use of daycare is allowed under our current zoning. So overall, in conclusion, I believe all variances requested meet the 4 tests. In my opinion, the proposed variances are appropriate under the policies of official plan.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jasbir. Thank you for all that information. That was very helpful. You had reached your 5 minutes, so I had to interrupt. So just a clarification, I see for myself here, I see on the floor plans, the use or the proposed daycare use is going to be in a portion of the house. And I see on your floor plans, the 3rd floor includes a owner's suite. Is that where, I guess your wife is going to be the operator, so you and your wife will be living in that suite?
Yes, we're a young couple and we don't have a large family. So currently to start off in our life, we are planning to keep a portion of it as owner's suite. And yes, the rest will be to accommodate the daycare.
Okay, I appreciate that. And you confirmed that, and we didn't see that as well, the use is permitted. What you're looking for are the variances related to the play area and the rear yard soft landscaping and the proposed shed location. Okay, perfect. So the use is not a concern at all in this application. Thank you, Jasbir. Members of the committee, do you have any questions or comments for Jasbir? Member Said, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Jasbir, while you're talking about that a play area, partially it is in the front yard. Could you give me an idea like what percentage of the play area is in the front yard?
Can we pull up the floor plan, please? While Jasbir is answering.
Madam Chair, are you able to zoom in on the site plan on the big screen?
Yeah, yeah, we are. I'm requesting staff to do that, so just bear with me.
Yes, right there.
So just in that portion, Kelly, if you don't mind, just zoom in into that playground area a little bit more as it relates to the house. So maybe in the center.
Okay, so if we look on the site plan 8, currently we do not have a calculation of how much extra it is. It creates a triangle. The way it is, if we look in the top left corner from the house, there's a dotted line that goes to the left. That dotted line is a representation of how the zoning examiners are looking at our property. So if we stay within that line, we don't need any variances. But what it ultimately will do is create a funny looking shape of the fence that will not be very pleasing to the eye. So it's to create a fence that blends in well into the neighborhood that doesn't stand out as a trapezoid or a funny triangle shape, just to meet the requirements.
Does that help you, Member Said? I think your question was more around percentage of the playground area that will be within the front yard. But as you can see, this is a unique site. It's a corner lot and it forms a triangle at the corner. So that dashed line is the interpretation of the front lot line or the front yard, required front yard. So you see how there's maybe a little portion that's there. There's no absolute percentage, but it's only a portion that's located in the front yard. Am I correct, Jasbir, in saying that that portion between Shepherd and that dotted line will be your front yard?
Yeah, so anything past that dotted line becomes a front yard. Anything inside is side, and then the rear is at the back. There were a different dotted line. So these visually, front yard looks different than what the zoning examiners have in line. So in the zoning notice, it was mentioned the percentage of how much it is in the front yard, whereas the rear yard is mentioned the softscape landscape area when I believe me, but zoning examiner didn't mention, as you can see, it is partially in the front yard.
So at the end of the day, members say it'll all blend in because all that area, whether it's the side yard or the front yard, would all be play area. So it's only a little portion that's extending. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know it's for this question, it's not the variance. Just wanted to, for sake of further clarification, because I'm trying to reach to a conclusion. So how many children are going to occupy the play area at a time? I can see you said there are 10 children, right?
These are two different playgrounds. Sorry, these are two different playgrounds. The rotation timelines and so forth are set by the ministry. We have shown a concept sketch of what is possible according to our classrooms. So the bigger playground has a maximum capacity of up to 35 kids, and the smaller playground has to 10 children at a time for the outdoor space.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jasper. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, the ministry requirements as they relate to what time, which sort of age group of kids will be out there. There's a whole program for them. Okay, so that's helpful. I see a fence there, a 6-foot high fence and a 7-foot high fence. And that I do not see any variance for location of a fence in the front yard, the side yard. So I'm assuming that that's not an issue there. And that would be a wooden fence, a wood board fence, just for you?
Madam Chair, our architect suggested a wood fence for privacy of kids and so forth on that side. And the material is not limited to any building requirement or ministry requirement. It could be a 4-foot high all the way around chain link fence, or it could be 6 foot. So architect has suggested it's just a suggestion of wood fence, but it could be any material.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Any questions, members? All right. All right. If there are questions, we can park them and come back because there's a long list of neighbors. So let's get going with the neighbors. So the first one here listed is Norman Rahman. Are you with us, Norman?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Yeah. So I'm a resident of the Rouge community residing at 11045 Shepherd Avenue East. That's just 2 homes south of the proposed daycare. So I've lived there for almost 20 years. So I'm actually here on behalf of myself as well as my family to provide our full support for the minor variance application. We have young children living in our home. There's about 5 of them. So we really believe that a daycare in our community would definitely be a great asset. I know like currently in the wait list for daycares right now is like over 6 months. So having a daycare in this community would definitely fulfill a much needed service. Like I personally just live like 100 meters from this location. So for me, it would be ideal to like pick and drop off my kids. There's also many other parents in the community who would be who could drop their kids off here because a lot of them now are forced to even go like down to the Durham region just so they can find the childcare. And so they would definitely benefit as well. So yeah, I want to add that I believe these minor variances won't really make much of a difference from what I can tell. Like I don't think it'll have a negative impact at all. Just because I think the service is so needed within the area. Like there's a mosque nearby. So the community is constantly growing. There's a lot of children as well. So I think they could make use of that. And then they would also allow parents and other members of the neighborhood to meet each other and the children, of course, as well as they would attend the daycare. So we request the committee to approve of this application, as we believe that it'd be nothing but a benefit to the community. And anything, any issue would anything that might be negative would be minimum compared to the benefits that we would get. That's kind of what I wanted to add.
Okay, is that all or?
Yeah, that'll be all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Norman. Any questions? I see none, all right. We move on to speak with Safa Rahman. Safa, are you with us? She's not, although I see that it's the same address and I'm assuming as Norman's, and she had confirmed to speak separately, but we just checked and staff confirmed that she's not online. Okay. We now move to the next speaker, Ahad Tahir. Ahad, are you with us? Ahad is also not online. We move to our next speaker, Omar Malik. Omar, are you with us?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Omar Malik. I'm a resident of the Rouge neighborhood, living and residing at 6 Port Clare Court. It's about a 3 to 5 minute walk from this proposed daycare. And, essentially living in this neighborhood for about 2 decades now, if anyone is aware, the Rouge neighborhood has grown substantially over the past 2 decades. There's been religious centers that have been built in this of multiple new developments with new housing, grocery store, and many, many more things. So the community has outgrown some of the services that it has. Personally, having a brother with 2 little kids in the same area who has been struggling to find daycare and has been waitlisted for almost a year now. I am absolutely, in support of this application based on, the growing needs of this community. As this community has grown substantially over the past little while, and with its growing members and their kids, having a daycare nearby is very critical, I believe, to this area. I personally know many members of the community with kids who are struggling with finding daycare. I believe, as one of the previous speakers has mentioned, they're going way out of their way to find daycare or other means to support this service. So having this in this community would be an asset, and it would absolutely outweigh some of the variances or some of the negatives that might have been proposed by some of the folks in the neighborhood. So I am absolutely in support of this application, and I think it'll be a great benefit to the community, of the Rouge community specifically. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Omar, for that. Any questions of the committee? All right. Thank you for coming out to support your neighbor on this project. The next neighbor who has confirmed to speak together, George and Dina April. Can we have George and Dina April, please?
Yeah, we're here.
Thank you, George.
Hello.
All right, thank you, George and Dina. Thank you for joining us today. You have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Great. Okay. Basically, we fully support the daycare in the community. It would do anything but help the community, especially with its proximity to the 401 and to the GO station. People could quickly drop their kids off and quickly get to the closest mode of transportation that they need to get to work. And the same when they get home, they'll be very close to home when it's time to go. The other people have basically said the same thing, but I just wanted to stress the proximity to the 401 and the GO station, because a lot of people use those. And yes, there are a lot of young parents and young children that would definitely benefit. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, George. And would Dina also like to speak?
Do you want to say something?
No,
You agree?
I agree with my husband. I think it just helps the parents make a better decision for their children.
I hear you completely. As a parent, I can appreciate the importance of daycares in any community, and then especially in the same neighborhood.
It's so
Thank
hard
you.
when you have to juggle it all.
Understood. Okay. Well, thank you so much, George and Dina, to come out today and support this, support your neighbor for this project. Let's move on to speak to the other neighbor, Katrina Groen. Katrina, are you with us?
Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katrina Groen. I'm another neighbor of Jasbir and his wife. I'm here today to support the proposal for 9 Tall Pines Court. I myself do not yet have children, but am aware that this area is in need of additional daycare facilities. My sister, who also lives in the area, had to seek out daycare for her toddler about a year ago and ended up placing him in a nursery school in Pickering. Now, with her second child, she's seeking a place closer to home since the commute is really not convenient and trying to wrangle a toddler and an infant into a car is not an easy task. So the closer it can be and sleep schedules and all of that she's dealing with at the moment, it would certainly be a lot easier if they didn't have to kind of commute just to get a decent daycare. So this proposal would be very welcomed. And as George and Dina had mentioned, it's close to transit and the highway and fills a real gap in the area. So despite the minor variances that were noted, I fully support the approval of this application. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Katrina. And once again, thank you for coming out and supporting this project. Any comment or questions? I see none. All right. So all the neighbors who have come out today to support, thank you very much for taking the time to speak. And I don't think there was anyone who had concerns who spoke today. So let's go back to Jasbir. So Jasbir, it's unusual. Typically, we come back to the applicant to respond to the concerns, but there were no concerns raised. It's all support for your project. Any comment, any closing remark before we go into committee for a decision?
Madam Chair, I would briefly like to talk about the urban forestry condition. I understand there's the second one from the community planning, which we're happy to accept. The urban forestry condition, it is not, we would not, how do I word this? We're okay to accept it if it has to be accepted, but I would like if we can leave it out because that condition number 1 says submission of a complete application for a permit to injure or remove a city-owned tree. In this case, from our site plan, we will not be injuring. We don't need to remove any trees. And if the conditions waive and we take the risk of, we accept the risk that if we do injure any trees, there's fines and penalties with urban forestry, and that can be enforced upon us. If the condition is there, it will make our application process a little bit faster, and it might expedite the overall process of opening up this service in the community, which is much needed. That's the only request I have to ask, Madam Chair, you and all the members, that if it is possible.
So can I just ask staff, perhaps I'm not seeing that, where's the community planning staff report condition?
Through the chair, it was a late submission. It was sent on April 3rd. It was tying the approval to the plans. So it was not in the supplementary agenda. It was sent after.
I see. Okay. And what is the condition, if I may request, because I don't have
tying the approval to plans.
Okay. So Jasbir, the condition, and may I request the staff to bring up that condition? You don't have it? You don't have internet? Okay. So the condition, as I understand from staff, is should the committee grant the variances today, that it be tied to the site plan that was shown or as part of this agenda. So Jasbir, that is the only recommendation. Do you think you still have concern with that one?
No, I am happy to accept the condition from community planning to tie the approval with the site plan that is submitted.
Yeah. Because what it does is basically, you know, you have a few things on the plan that the community planning has reviewed, and they feel that they're, in their opinion, the basis of their recommendation for approval is sort of linked to how it's presented on the site plan. And hence they're recommending that should committee approve it, that it be tied to the site plan. Perhaps it's got to do with the location of the, you know, the shed or the fence and whatnot. So I think I don't think that should be a problem. You're concerned about the urban forestry condition. I would say, because that's a recommended condition that has been sent to us from urban forestry, I'm going to leave it to the committee, but I would suggest that we continue with that condition as presented, and then you can at least go back and speak with urban forestry, and if you have any concerns, you can deal with them directly and sort it out. If they want to give up on that condition, it's their call. But rather than us not including it and then, creates a problem in the future.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'm happy to accept that as well. Yes.
Yeah, because from what I understand, it's condition number 1, which is tied to obtaining a permit to injure or remove a tree, which by any means you have to do regardless of this being in the condition or not, because that's a bylaw issue. It's a tree preservation bylaw issue, so you would have to do it regardless. So having it in here is just additional bells and suspenders, but if you can sort it out with urban forestry directly, I think you should be able to do that anyways.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
And I will do it, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I now take the matter into committee. Committee members, any thoughts, any comments? I think we had a good deliberation. Member Igor, please go ahead.
I'm ready to put forward a motion, Madam Chair. So,
Any thoughts, any comments? Say, all right, let's go ahead.
I'll put forward a motion for approval subject to community planning conditions, tied site plan, and urban forestry condition 1.
Thank you, Member Igor. May I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion.
All right.
Approval.
Okay, Member Macaulay seconds the motion, and all in favor of the motion? The motion is carried unanimously. I can see them all on the video. I hope everyone else can see as well, but all members have unanimously voted. So the application has been approved, subject to conditions as noted. Thank you, Jasbir, for taking the
Thank you,
time and all
everyone.
the
Thank you,
neighbors
Madam Chair.
coming out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. We now move to item number 5. And item 5 was held because a member had a question. So this is 85 Silver Springs Boulevard. And can we please have Mitchell May? All right, thank you. Mitchell, are you with us?
I'm here, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mitchell. So I guess we can start with the question that member Said had, or would you like to say any comments, Mitchell, before we begin?
We can start with the question. I can respond to those after the question.
Okay, thank you. So member Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Michelle, for sorry for putting you on wait for this time. But this was really a matter of concern for me. The reason is because here you are totally taking out the amenity space there, which is meant for the residents, for their quality of life and for their life standards. If this would have been a request to take this amenity space, some of the amenity space, and convert them into a commercial project, I would have considered that. But when amenity space is taken over 100% and there will be 0 amenity space, that make me concerned, and that is my question.
Thank you for the opportunity to explain then. I think it's important to note 85 Silver Springs Boulevard is one of 3 buildings on a larger site that includes 65, 75, and 85 Silver Springs Boulevard, along with a number of townhouses. So they're set within a very large open space with a lot of outdoor amenity, but we're talking about only indoor amenity here. So while the application is proposing the removal of 55 square meters of amenity space, it doesn't reflect the replacement of this amenity space with new shared amenities at 65 Silver Springs Boulevard, or 65 Silver Springs Boulevard, which is the addition of a new gym and a party room, which is now complete. That is something that was done with a different architect and not within our kind of application, but that's been permitted and is now complete. So the existing amenity space at 85 Silver Springs was also not an active space. It was in fairly poor repair and was being used as a storage room. So the reuse of this retail space, while not classified as a traditional amenity space, we think serves as a sort of de facto amenity, which allows residents to reduce reliance on cars for some grocery and pantry items on site, while still having access to new, higher quality amenities within the buildings on the site.
Okay, so just to clarify, how many buildings are on the property, Mitchell? Again, can you confirm?
There's 3 multi-unit residential buildings that are 9 stories, and then there's a series of townhouses as well.
Okay, so there's going to be some more amenity area that would be provided in another building on the same property, as Mitchell mentioned, a gym and perhaps a banquet facility, I heard, or a party room.
A party room,
But
yes.
and what is this space being currently used as that is being removed, Mitchell?
This was so it's classified as an amenity space on the drawings. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear that it was being used that way for the last while. It was, as I said, in quite poor repair and being used as a storage space.
Okay, all right. And this is going to be converted to a residential unit?
Retail space.
Sorry, my apologies, to a retail store. Okay. All right. Does that help you, Member Said?
I hear you, Michelle. The thing is, I do understand there are other buildings and they have their own amenity spaces. Gym and exercise rooms are there. But I will take on this particular building, 85 Silver Springs, right? I understand it's a 9-story building with 88 units there. So quite a number of residents are there. Still, I think it's the rights of the residents to have the amenity space within the building. They don't have to move to the other building for that particular thing. As you said, if you have a retail store over here, they will be saving time not to move out, go for the groceries and get it from there, but they have to go to the other building for the amenity space. So, but that is my concern. Also, I would like to just continue with this question. Have you reached out to the residents there? If there was any sort of consultation, could you just give us a picture of that? Is everybody will be okay with developing this commercial retail store there?
Yeah, so I personally have not reached out to everyone. The owner has. So they've sent a letter to all the units in the buildings, letting them know about this proposed change and this hearing. And there were no concerns expressed. So it seems that it has been somewhat well received as a potential change on the site.
Okay, thank you very much. Just allow me a moment where I'm again experiencing some difficulty.
Through the chair, at least for this item, what I would suggest is just doing roll call.
Yeah, we'll do
Yes.
that. Yeah, I'm logging in again myself because I was booted out.
Okay.
Okay, so just give me a moment because I need to see, right? Okay, I'm back up. Okay, so thank you for that. Members say, does that help or any follow-up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks.
Okay, any further comments, members of the committee? Member Igor, go ahead.
Yes, I'm just curious, can you explain the rationale for the retail space in terms of why this is being pursued?
The thinking was that it provides another form of amenity. It's admittedly, and everyone on the team understands it's not the same as a traditional amenity. That is, it's not a party room, but it does provide another form of amenity for the site where the site is quite large and it's quite a distance to kind of commercial spaces. So this gives the ability to access that in much closer proximity within the building itself. So kind of being able to duck down to a corner store quickly, that kind of convenience for building occupants.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's not unusual to have convenience stores at the bottom of high-density apartment buildings. Okay, if there are no further questions, Michelle, any closing remarks before I take the matter into committee?
No, there's nothing for me at this moment. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. So we take the matter into committee now. Any thoughts, any comments? I would just like to make a comment here that yes, I appreciate your concerns, members say that amenity area is being removed from that building, but you also have to see what was the benefit of having that amenity. Was it being used actively? Was it feasible? Was it enough or was large enough to accommodate or to function as amenity space as well? From what we heard from Mitchell was that that was not being used or being underutilized. So I think it's finding efficiencies in the building and trying to create or bring in a use that may be more of benefit to the community that lives there. We can all appreciate the importance of having, like a retail store close to our, where we live, or, down below in the building that we live, so that you're not driving to buy a bag of milk from No Frills or food, like Food Basics or somewhere. I would rather walk down and then grab a bag of milk, or to, grab a bag of chips or something. So I think it has its own merits and advantages. What gives me a little bit of consolation is that there's additional space being accommodated or being proposed in the other building for a gym and in that kind of facility. So there will still be some form of amenity available in lieu of what's being removed. So that would be my thoughts and comments. Member Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with your comments, Madam Chair, by and large. But still saying that amenity, the purpose of the amenity space is to give a better life standard or living style to the resident of that building. Yes, it is true this place has not been properly utilized in the past, is used as a storage room, which is very unfortunate. Why it has been used as a storage place and not as an amenity place. That's not our discussion how it is used, but still I can see the management can look into that, have a better usage as a traditional amenity space rather than putting a retail store there, which may not be, everybody may not agree to that interpretation of the amenity space, that retail store could be a amenity space. So still, Madam Chair, I take a stand on that point. I will say I won't agree this kind of change in a building. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, not a problem. I think my point was that it's not replacing that type of amenity, but a different amenity, but something bringing in a use that may be more, efficient or functional. But anyways, that was your thought, in my opinion. Any further thoughts or comments? I see none. Okay, so I would like to, at this point, proceed with a motion, and I know we're experiencing some video issues, so I'm going to go, I'm going to do a roll call here. So I'll start with who would like to put forward a motion. All right, so Member McKay is going to put forward a motion. Go ahead, Member McKay.
Yes, Madam Chair. I want to move approval of this variance application for 85 Silver Spring, and there is no condition.
Thank you. And may I have a seconder with a show of hands? Member McCauley, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion.
All right, thank you. And all in favor, and I will start with the name. So Member Igor?
I'm in favor, Madam Chair.
Member Said?
I oppose, Madam Chair.
Okay, and I'm also in favor of the motion. So the motion is carried, and Member Said has opposed the motion. However, the motion is carried and the application has been approved, and there are no conditions. Thank you very much. Okay, we now move to our next item, item number 6. Item 6 is 314 Morrish Road, and there was one neighbor who had registered. So we'll start with the agent. My apologies if I mispronounce this, but Kaveh Abnaz. Kaveh, are you with us? No? Okay. Can we go to the owner who may be available? Karthika Ramachandran. Hello, Karthika, are you with us? Hi.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, I can hear you, Karthika. So Karthika, how would you like to proceed? Do you want to make a presentation, or do you want to go straight to questions?
I'll just go straight to question. My agent's supposed to be there, but I don't know what happened.
Okay, all right, not a problem. We can start with the questions. So I'll start with the committee members. Committee members, 314 Morrish Road. Any questions or comments for Karthika at this time? This is an application to, to construct a new building. This application was deferred at the February 16th, 2023 hearing to allow the applicant to meet with the Urban Forestry Department. The application or the construction of the new dwelling is triggering 5 variances Variance number 1 is for maximum FSI.
Hi,
The variance number 2.
So my
Yeah.
agent is there. He's asking you guys to like unmute.
My apologies. My apologies. I don't know why I'm on a different application.
Sorry, so item 6.
Is your agent back now?
Yes, he's online. He's asking to unmute.
Okay. Kavi is online. Can you unmute?
Through the chair, Karthika, can you confirm what name CAVE is signed in under? We don't have a CAVE on the participant list.
Maybe Kevin.
Let me think.
Kevin? Kavi?
Give me 1 second. He's calling me on my phone. Hello.
Thank you, Gary, for pointing
Okay,
that out. I think I was in the wrong one.
So
It's under CAVE at permitman.ca.
Through the chair, Karthika, we understand that is your agent's email, but what is their name they used for the WebEx app?
Maybe permitman.
Through the chair, we do not have a permit man.
Give me 1 second, Kevin. What's the name on your WebEx ID?
Okay, so I make a suggestion here. While we try to connect with Cave, why don't we go and speak with the neighbor? And then we'll come back, okay? So can you, Shirley, can you connect us with Glenn Sequeira, who's the neighbor, and then we'll come back and speak with Kevin. Glenn, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair.
So Glenn, could you tell us what your concerns are with this application? And you have 5 minutes. And just for record, my apologies, I was referring to the wrong application. This is for 314 Morrish Road. And it is to permit the existing exterior rear addition. And it is, there's 2 variances that are before the committee. So go ahead, Glenn.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Glenn Sikora. I'm currently the owner at 312 Morrish Road. I have owned 312 Morrish Road since 2015. I am one of the adjacent neighbors to the applicant of 314 Morrish Road. Please allow me to start by first apologizing for any unintentional mispronunciation of anyone's names. First, I want to say that initially I was in support of the application extension, as I believe everyone has a right to the private enjoyment of their property. However, after reviewing the application, I had a few concerns. The first is in terms with the accuracy of the documentation provided. The second concern is with the requested variances for the building length. I would refer to you to page 1 of the 2022 Committee of Adjustments application, where I noticed that the registered owner of subject land, as it appears on the deeds and transfers, was filled out by one owner named Karthika Ramachandran. On the tree declaration form, there are 2 owners listed for 314 Morrish Road, Karthika Ramachandran and Kirupa Sitaram Parapila, whereas Karthika Ramachandran is the only individual who signed off on the documents. In addition, the inconsistency of ownership continues, as it is my understanding the owners hired an agent to assist with the application. However,
sorry, Glenn, I apologize. I apologize for interrupting, Glenn, but I would really appreciate if you were to focus your concerns or your conversation on the variances before the committee, not on who has signed or inconsistencies with the petition or application information. I think you need to focus on the variances and tell the committee what your concerns are with the application itself.
Okay, so let me just see where's my thing. Okay, so you just ask for it here. Okay, so I'm finding that although there were discussions about the design of the extension between myself and the applicant, no architectural drawings were provided to myself by the applicant. And so we were not aware of the entire scope of the project, including details such as what excavation was required, what was the external facade of the extension may look like. As we have seen from the pictures provided by the applicant's package, the house is made of red brick and the color of the extension siding is gray color, which does not match the backyard aesthetics and the properties on Morrish Road, where the RD zone neighborhood is comprised of bungalows, where the length of the building are approximately uniform. Although the variance requested for the building length is 2.25 meters long, that was the bylaw allows, this will impact the uniformity of the bungalows in the area and affect the characteristic of the neighborhood. I also understand and support that this committee allows a 1 meter difference in the building length variance, but not a 2.25 meter variance. In addition, I'm concerned in future that this will set a precedent for other adjacent neighbors to build an extension beyond the allowable length, which will affect the privacy not only of my backyard, but others, and further change the characteristics of the neighborhood. Therefore, the proposed variance will impact the neighboring properties by changing the characteristics of the area and thus not minor in nature. In conclusion, I am hoping that the committee can recommend amendments to the application for the sake of accuracy and not set a precedent for the rest of the city. This is a sufficient to submit incomplete, inaccurate, and misleading documents. I also request recommendation be made that the extension be revisited to comply with the established standards of the bylaw. And I just want to thank the committee for considering me and happy to answer any questions. And by the way, also one of the questions I thought about was, it is not been over a year. They just finished it last year in October, the construction of that dwelling. So that's also misleading that they said it was up for a year now. So that's all my
I appreciate.
concerns.
Okay, thank you very much, Glenn, for identifying those. Although as a committee, we have to focus on what is in front of us in terms of the application and the variances. So let's focus on that. So I just want to, for my benefit, and again, I know you had a lot of comments, but your primary concern is, as it relates to the application, is the length of the building, and you feel, in your opinion, that it should meet whatever the regulations permit, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, because that's what's before the committee today, or the is the length of the law front, sorry, it's the length and depth as well. Okay, perfect. Committee members, any questions for Glenn at this time? I see none. Okay, so let's go back to Kaveh. If Kaveh is online, he's not. So Karthika, if we can have you. Karthika, Kaveh is online, it appears, but is not connected, or is there some difficulty in connecting?
He's on phone line with me. He's on speakerphone. He can hear you and maybe he can answer.
I just want to make sure that we can communicate with him well. If he wants to make any comments, I'm not sure how that's going to work at your end.
There are two owners. I agree. If you have any questions, I can answer.
Okay.
We gave all the documents that were requested by the city. And we completed this project in early 2022. So I'm not, like, it's more than a year now.
Okay, all right. So we're not looking at the ownership information here. We're only focusing on the application.
You mentioned in the Committee of Adjustment meeting. Is it possible?
Yes, Kevin wants to make some points and I will make those points. Yes, Kevin.
We could hear him on this, so maybe you can keep the phone closer to the microphone and we can hear him.
Okay, Kevin, go ahead. Everybody can hear you.
Okay, so there are something that I have to clear about the Glenn's comments. The first thing is some of the comments are not related to the bylaws. It was about building codes, which separately the building examiners will take care of it. The only thing that I think that it's going to be discussed here is about the length of the building and the consistency. Already, if you guys look at the map of the neighbors, already the consistency of the bungalows has been broken because the neighbors, as I am right, the neighbors, one of the neighbors' front yard setback is 9.3 meters. The other one is 19.4 meters. And, you know, if you look at from one view, from I don't have from the numbers 316, if you look at it, the front of the Cartier's house is setting with that one. And if you look at from 312, the back of it is even just inside the building compared to the 320. So from that point of view of breaking the consistency of the bungalows, I think it's regarding the two neighbors, it's not an issue. The only thing is the length of the building is exceeding the limits of bylaws about 2.325 meter. So regarding that concern, I really appreciate if everybody can just relook at it and see if the members of the Committee of Adjustment can accept this minor variance.
So what we have on the screen, and I'm not sure who can view the screen here, but what we have on the screen is how this proposed addition is related to the two properties on each side. So the existing dwelling at 312, that particular dwelling is located further back from the street and it's pushed sort of further back. The proposed addition is still beyond or still within that before that protrusion. So as you can see on the screen, it's not going past in the backyard or in the rear yard for the existing dwelling at 312. Okay, so yes, I do see that the locations of the buildings are a little different for along the street, but for this particular property, the addition will still be within that that setback between 312 and 314. So it's not protruding beyond that projection. Okay, I just wanted to point that out to the committee in terms of deliberation. Okay, I think this is what our focus should be, which is the application and the variances related to the building length and the building depth. When it comes to ownership issues and all that, that's not something that the committee is looking at. At this point, I'd say if there's any comments or concerns, well, I'm happy to take it forward. Otherwise, we'll take the matter into committee. I see none. All right. So thank you, Karthika and Kaveh, for speaking with us. I take the matter into committee now. Committee members, any thoughts, any comments? Remember, we have two variances for building length and building depth only. Member State, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Focusing on the variances before the committee about depth and length of the building, I'm of the opinion that these are minor, appropriate in nature, and this is existing condition as well. So I am supportive of that.
Okay, and there are no conditions. I just want to confirm.
There are no conditions to that.
Okay, thank you. And may I have a seconder, please? Member Igor, please go ahead.
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Okay, Member Igor seconds the motion, and all in favor of this motion? I guess I'll have to do a roll call here. So Member Macaulay? Thank you. Member McKay?
Not in favor, Madam Chair.
Not in favor?
Not in favor.
Okay, so you're opposing the motion? Okay, so Member Gary opposes the motion. I am in favor of the motion. The motion is carried with the 4 votes in favor, and Member Gary has opposed the motion, but the motion is carried and the application is approved. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we now go to item 7, and item 7 is 38 BOBMAR Road. Now I'm at the right, at the one, okay. This is that application that I was referring to. So can we have the agent, Krinal Jayani, please? Krinal, are you with us?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Krinal. So Krinal, the reason why we held this item was because we have received a recommendation from Urban Forestry to refuse the application because they have some concerns. Have you talked to Urban Forestry staff, or what are your thoughts and comments at this time?
Yes, we were continuously in the current correspondence with Urban Forestry, and we have made big changes in the design of basement. You can see it in the floor plan also. And yeah, so now there is no impact on the trees.
Okay, so has that been done in consultation with Urban Forestry, or is that something that you're working on your own to
No,
clarify or reduce those concerns?
No, we have been sending it to them. We are in correspondence with them.
Okay, but we have not received a sign off or anything. So I guess the comments that we have received from Urban Forestry stand before us as they are. So we're going to be deliberating in light of those comments. Members of the committee, do you have any questions for Krinal? Member Said, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Krinal, have you, the same question which Madam Chair was asking you, you have a series of, I think, more than one meeting with the Urban Forestry, and I can see the tree protection zone was increased from 4.8 meter to 6 meter, right? This change has, you have agreed to that change, and still the Urban Forestry is not satisfied to that, or these are the updated development and the comments of the Urban Forestry were prior to that?
Yes, this is updated, but because the Urban Forestry required, like the variance which we proposed before was required for the removal of healthy neighborhood trees. That's why they were asking us for reducing the variance. But instead of that, we have done changes in the design of basement so that we don't need to remove the trees, and that we are already in contact with them, and yeah, they know it, and we have already submitted all the updated drawings to them. And also there will be no excavation and grading change within the 6 meter of the tree trunk. We have shown the tree protection zone as well. Yeah, here you can see in the drawing.
So on the drawing, that's on the screen. Those are the trees, okay. I see. Member Said, any follow-up question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for further clarification from the applicant. So what I understand is, although the tree protection zone has been increased to 6 meter, but the concerns of Urban Forestry are still there. Am I correct?
Yes. But they told us that they only see the variance, right? So we have done the changes, but the Urban Forestry told us that if this application get the approval, then we can apply for a removal or injury of the tree. So we will be definitely doing that after it gets approved.
Member Igor.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I'm just confused. I'm just confused in regards to if Urban Forestry has put forward the conditions that it has, and if those conditions are still in play.
I'm also a little confused. Perhaps we can get some clarification from staff. Please go ahead.
Through the chair. Urban Forestry has objected to the minor variance application and requests denial of the variance. If in their comments, if the variance is approved, Urban Forestry would issue the permit to remove the tree. And
I guess the applicant would have to apply for the permits, correct?
Yes, and Urban Forestry would approve it. if the variances were approved, they would recommend two conditions be added, but I guess their recommendation is denial of the application for the reasons included in the memo.
And you have not received any updated information beyond what's included in the agenda in terms of any further discussion or clarification with the applicant?
That's correct. We did receive a new memo for this for this hearing cycle, and this is current.
Okay, so again, thank you for that clarification, Colin, and that's exactly what I thought is that what we have before us is what's current, and we will deem that as current. I appreciate, Cornell, that you've had those conversations with Urban Forestry or have been communicating with them, but we have not received any further memo. So what we have is what we have. Member Macaulay has a comment or question. Please go ahead.
My question is to the applicant. If they've had meetings with Urban Forestry, are they prepared to defer this application until we get confirmation that Urban Forestry is satisfied?
We already did
think-
for last time because of this comments, and then we were in correspondence with them, and then we made these changes, which you can see now, so that there is no removal, no need of removal of these trees.
Thank you.
So they've made adjustments to the plans, which we don't know if it's been, okay. Committee members, any further questions?
Madam Chair, just so I'll understand that although the applicant has made some changes, those actually haven't been, those particular changes haven't yet gone back to forestry. Is that the situation?
Or even if they have gone back, we've not received any updated memo from forestry.
True, thank you, right.
Through the chair, Urban Forestry has already confirmed their position in this most recent memo.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question?
Please go ahead.
I'm curious if the applicant has adjusted the variance number 3 and number 5 from what is currently what we have in front of us.
Even if we reduce,
I think that's a good, yeah.
Cool.
Well, the reason I asked that question, it seems that the Urban Forestry's conditions are tied to those two variances because they seem excessive over the variance. They seem excessive over what is as of right.
Can I speak?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, so even if we reduce those two variances, it won't make any changes because anyways, we will need to do removal of the trees if we reduce the variances. So that's why we thought of changing the design in the basement so that we don't do any, if we don't do any construction there, so that we don't need to remove the trees. So if there is injury required, then we will do the application.
Okay. So I guess we'll have to look at what's before us and deal with it. I know the applicant's trying their best. So let's say if they do not, let's say if the committee approves this application with those conditions, and if they have to have, if they do not need a permit to remove the tree, good for them. If they do, then they go through the process. Okay, so let's start with that. Okay. If there are no further questions or comments or concerns, can we take the matter into committee? All right, do we take the matter into committee now? Member Macaulay, go ahead, please.
Madam Chair, this is a difficult application where the applicant says they've made changes. We haven't seen those changes. They think they've satisfied Urban Forestry. We haven't seen that. We're not in a position to make a decision on this application. I asked the applicant whether they were willing to defer this so that we could see the changes and have opportunity to get further information from Urban Forestry. She said no, in which case I think our only alternative is to refuse the application.
I just want to clarify, I may have not heard that clearly. Did you ask the applicant for deferral and the applicant said, say no?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, well, then the applicants, I guess, is not interested in deferral, so the committee
No,
has to make a decision now.
through Madam Chair, we already deferred once. It's Faisal, also the applicant. We already deferred once in the last, it was in the agenda in last minor variance hearing,
Right.
6th of
Understood.
February. And we already deferred
Understood,
once.
yes.
We went through the forestry and the same thing, it will come. Even if we defer again, it will, the result is same. Because
Okay.
if you look at the building depth and length, if we reduce, still it will not help. So the result
Okay.
is we cannot, yeah.
Understood. No, I think that helps clarify that the purpose of the deferral last time was to talk to urban forestry, and this is what this has led into. So there's no point in deferral. I think we have to make a decision today.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'm prepared to move a motion to refuse this application.
In its entirety?
Madam Chair, I have a question, sorry.
Okay, I'll defer for your question for a second. I'm just.
Thank you. My understanding is, sorry, I guess I need more clarification, but my understanding is if we approve this with all the conditions that have been set out, those conditions would resolve the concerns, I think, around number 3 and number 5, because we would deny variance number 3 and number 5 as part of urban forestry's memo and those conditions, and we would apply conditions 1 and 2 and apply urban forestry condition number 5 and also tie it to site plan. So is that not, by doing that, would we not be achieving what urban forestry would like us to do?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Through the chair, it's one or the other. Either you refuse it, or you can refuse it outright. You can refuse it with variances 3 and 5, no conditions, or you can approve it subject to conditions 1 and 2.
That's correct.
Those are the 3 options.
Those are the options.
And community planning conditions, I'm sorry, community planning. If you approve it, community planning also has tied it to plans.
Yeah, it's tying to the site plan. So does that help you, Member Igor?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Madam Chair, when I look at the variances requested, its lot area, its length, and the community planning is that it be built in accordance with the site plan. So I don't think we can approve it in accordance with community planning, because that seems to be the issue of destroying the trees. I think in this case, the applicant, if he's wanting to proceed, he needs to go back to the drawing board, take a look at his lot length at 25.1 meter versus 17, look at the FSI, which isn't all that big, and consider what trees he can preserve and get back to urban forestry to try to get them to concur.
But I think that exercise has already happened, Member Macaulay.
If it's already gone and it does seem as though this applicant is not willing to compromise, then I think our decision is either approve or refuse.
And that's exactly what we said. That
And
we
I
have
have
to-
put
we
forth
have-
a motion to refuse this application.
I'm going to check with you again in its entirety.
Yes, as its entirety, because I don't know whether the FSI has any impact on this or not.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to deny the application. May I have a seconder? Member Gary.
Chair, I'll second that motion to refuse this application in its entirety.
All in favor of this motion? And the motion fails. I do not see a show of hands from Member Saif, Member Igor, and I am also not in favor. So the motion fails now. Can we have a motion now? Can I have a new motion? Member Igor, please go ahead.
I'll put forward a motion for approval, Madam Chair, subject to urban forestry condition number 5, if I'm reading this, urban forestry condition 1, 2.
Through the chair, condition 5 is refusal.
Oh, sorry.
Condition 1 and 2.
1 and 2, sorry, subject to urban forestry condition 1 and 2, community planning tied to site plan. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the application, subject to the condition from urban forestry number 1 and 2, and a recommended condition from community planning to tie to the site plan. May I have a seconder? Member Said seconds the motion. All in favor of this motion? So myself, Member Igor, and Member Said in favor of the motion. All opposed? Member Macaulay and Member McKay oppose the motion. The motion gets carried and the application is approved subject to conditions. Thank you. Okay, we now move to the next item on the agenda, which was held for further discussion, and that is 90 Phillip Avenue, item 11. Can we please have Patrick McAuliffe online? Hello, Patrick, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. So Patrick, would you like to make a presentation, have any comments, or would you rather go straight to questions?
No, I'll make a comment first. I realize this is a big house. The owner of the house, Gopi Das, bought this corner lot for his dream home. We're not building this for a builder, we're building it for him as his dream home. Obviously, he wanted to have a castle here, but obviously we can't build a castle here, so we've done the best we can. The house is 39% coverage. It is 9.63 meters high. The length of the house is 20 meters long. The front yard setback is misleading, but I'll explain that to you in a minute. The maximum permitted height for all front and exterior walls is 7.44, which is a little over what it should be. But basically, when you look at this house on this lot, on this corner, because this corner is a big, huge open corner, it's a really fantastic corner, and he wants to have his dream house on that lot. It looks pretty darn good on that lot. Now, I believe that there was a letter that was sent into the committee. And in that letter, one of the things they pointed out to was they were concerned about the fact that this huge house was going to be blocking off the corner. But when you take a look at what is there right now on the corner, forgetting about the fact that the house there right now is 1 story high, this is 2 stories high, but that's not going to change your views from when you're on the street. But the house that's there right now, and one of the setbacks is because it says it's supposed to be 2.4 meters from the side, on the side street, okay? But the existing house right now is 1.33 meters from the side street. The house that we want to build is 1.53 meters from the side street, so that's an improvement. The bay window on that house is 1 meter from the side street. Our 2 bay windows are 1.3 meters, so that's an improvement. The part of the house that gets up to Phillip Avenue, the existing house, the actual house is 5.36 meters from the street, from the property line, whereas the porch on the house is 2 meters from it. We intend to build 6 meters back. So this house is actually an improvement on all of the lines of view on the street from what is there presently right now. Now, also on that letter that somebody had sent in, they had complained about the balconies, but the balconies we're allowed to do, and the only reason why we're going over on the size of the balcony is we're just trying to match the size of the balcony that's the front porch. And I think that's all I have to say right now, really. I think it's a beautiful house that's going to look really beautiful on this wide open corner.
Okay, thank you, Patrick, for your comments. Committee members, do you have any questions or comments for Patrick at this time? Okay, so none at this time, Patrick. If there are, we'll come back to you.
Through the chair, Member Macaulay is not on video right now.
Oh. Member Macaulay is not on video. Member Macaulay, did you have any questions or comments?
No questions, no
Okay, so for now, there are no questions or comments, but thank you for flagging that. I will, thanks for the reminder. So we're now going to go to the neighbor who has registered to speak with us. And can we please have Peter McLaughlin and Cheryl Webb? All right, Peter, are you with us?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay,
You have
great.
5 minutes.
Great, okay. Hi, I'm Peter McLaughlin, and I've lived with my wife Cheryl Webb at 89 Phillip Avenue, across the street from 90 Phillip Avenue for the last 12 years. First, I guess I would submit that the requested vacancies are not minor, either taken individually or as a totality, and they're not consistent with the city's zoning code or relevant bylaw. As the previous speaker noted, the maximum permitted lot coverage is 33% of the lot area. But now we're going to go from 33% to this proposed nearly 40% of the lot area. So that in itself suggests that these are not minor variances. It's a 7% spread, so that's not a minor variance. We've seen the side yard setback will be reduced from 2.4 meters down to 1.13 meters. And the front yard setback is going to drop from 8.54 down to 6. So we're just talking about putting a much larger building on a piece of land that has historically had a smaller house on it. The maximum permitted area for second story detached house at 90 Phillip is currently 4 square meters. The proposal goes to 6.51 square meters. Again, these are not minor variances. These are very large encroachments, and regardless of the opinion of the previous speaker, it's going to materially affect one's sight lines. Just when you're talking about increasing something that much. So in short, I think the requested variances are going to create a building that is materially wider, taller, and deeper than what is currently permitted, and will be out of character with the rest of the neighborhood. That section of Phillip Avenue, that side of Phillip Avenue, is all bungalows anyway. So all one-story bungalows now are going to have a monster home on it. I understand that it might be, someone might say, hey, maybe I can sway the Committee of Adjustment by talking about how this is going to be my client's dream home. But frankly, there's a whole bunch of people already living on the street in their dream homes who don't want to see this kind of thing happen. At any rate, I'd say that a couple minor things. The proposed property at 90 Phillip is going to have its driveway on Phillip Avenue, whereas it's currently on Mewburn, so that's going to just create a little bit of a traffic snag, I think, immediately in front of the Mewburn-Phillip intersection. Yeah, as the previous speaker noted, it's a one-story house that's there right now, and replacing it with a structure that's 9.67 meters is going to materially affect and dramatically lessen the amount of sunlight that my property gets in the afternoons and evenings. So in short, basically the character of the neighborhood is going to change dramatically with this proposed construction, and it's going to really negatively affect the quality of life for my wife and I. So those are my comments. Thank you.
So Peter, you live across the street, right? At
Yes.
89 Phillip Avenue?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So I just want to clarify, you mentioned that, you know, the impact of this development and the two-story. So are you concerned with the size of the house versus, or are you concerned with a two-story home being going there?
Well, I'm concerned with the height of this two-story home. I prefer that I not have a two-story home across from me, but I don't think that's realistic because I think anybody would be well within their rights to put a two-story home there. But this one is just so much bigger than it needs to be. At 237, sorry, at 273 Mewburn, there's a two-story house that's sort of runs east to west the way the proposed property will. It looks actually a lot like what's proposed on 90 Phillip, but it's all within the existing zoning as far as I can tell. So it's my concern is not really with a two-story property per se. I mean, realistically, I think you're going to get a two-story house here, so that's fine. My concern is with this, how big this one's going to be. And as a previous speaker said, he wants it to be like a castle. And well, I don't really want a castle in my neighborhood.
Okay, so and that's exactly what I wanted to clarify with you, because a two-story home is permitted as of right under
Yes.
the zoning, so we cannot prohibit
Yes.
that as entitled as any resident or any property owner on that street. It's the height of the house that is of concern to you,
Yes.
and then other variances as well. Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much for your
My own-
comments. Committee members, do you have any questions for Peter? None. Sorry, Peter, did I interrupt you?
I was just gonna say my own house was a one-story bungalow and it's now a two-story house. So, I mean, it'd be
Correct.
hypocritical of me to show up here and plead that you shouldn't build it because I don't want a two-story house.
Understood. No, fair enough. Member Said has a comment or a question. Go ahead, Member Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Peter just answered to that. I was looking, Peter is living in 89.
Yeah, that's a two-story, yes.
Just up across the road, and then maybe the 87 one is again a huge house. I'm just viewing the Google Street View. Both of these are two-story houses. So Peter, could you just give us an idea what's the height of your house or the just adjacent to your house? I'm just trying to find out the character of the street for that purpose.
As I understand it, mine must be within the existing zoning bylaw because there's no, on any of the documents I found when I got the agreement of purchase and sale, there was nothing about any amendments being sought for the height of the house. And my house is taller than 87 Phillip, so I'm sure that one's well within the current height allotment as well.
Okay. Thank you. So I think we had some good discussion on the height here. If there are no further questions, I would like to go back to Patrick McAuliffe. Patrick?
Yes. Hello? Yep.
Yes, yes, Patrick, go ahead, please. And how would you like to respond to the concerns?
Well, I don't, it's a big house, there's no question about that, but I don't think it's really, really huge. I think it's perfectly ideal for the situation that it's in. It's on a corner lot. When you look at the site plan, it doesn't appear to be overly huge. And it's going to be a beautiful house sitting on the corner. I don't know what else to say other than that. As far as blocking views and all that bit, I pointed out that it's not going to be blocking views any more than what it is right now. And it's only about 1.6 feet higher than what the bylaws allow on the height of the walls. But I guess I could end up changing all this by dropping those two issues. I could drop the overall wall height, and I could drop the roof height to whatever's required.
And I think that's what my question, I was hoping to speak with you, was why do you need that increase in height? Could you not, work with your roof design to bring it further down? Because from what I can see, it's your typical pitch roof, and I think there's an opportunity there to cut down, a few inches and meet the zoning requirements for the height.
Okay, so I could change the item number, the height one, which was item number 6, the maximum permitted height, 7, and they want 7.4. I could change that to 7.14.
Okay, you tell us what we want to do.
Huh? Sorry?
I would just need your confirmation for any of those changes. So I guess we're going to start with the listed variances. So let's start with number 2. That's the first one that is related to the height of the building.
Yeah, okay,
So
so
you're
let's,
proposing, go ahead.
yeah, let's change that to 9.3.
Let's change that to 9.3. So you don't want to eliminate it. You want to bring it down to 9.3.
Yeah.
Okay. So staff, are you making notes of this? So variance number 2, the proposed height of the building is 9.3 meters. That's the applicants making that amendment. So moving to item number 6, I guess. 6.
Yeah.
What would be the proposed height of the front, rear, and exterior main
7.1.
walls?
That would make it 7.14.
Okay, 7.14 is what we're hearing from you. So variance number 6 is being amended to 7.14 requested or proposed height.
Yep, and you have to watch out. Number 8 is the same as number 2, I believe.
Right. Yes, it's the, I mean, I'm not sure if there's going to be any change as a result because it's a different bylaw, but if you confirm that it is going to be 9.3, that's what we will amend it as.
Yeah, we'll make that 9.3.
9.3?
Yep.
Okay, so variance 2 has been amended to a proposed height of 9.3. Variance number 7 is has been amended to proposed height of the front, rear, and exterior side walls as 7.14. And variance number 8, the proposed building height is 9.3. Perfect. Okay, any comments, any thoughts, any suggestions? I see none. Okay. Patrick, we'd like to take the matter into committee now. Any closing remarks? Before I go, I just want to confirm if there were any conditions. Yes, there were. Thank you, Gary. So there were 2 conditions from Urban Forestry, condition number 1 and condition number 2, and I believe from Metrolinx as well.
Yes, I've seen them and I agree with them.
You agree with both the conditions, with all the conditions?
Through the chair, also Metrolinx conditions as well?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Metrolinx condition, it's a warning clause to be included in the development agreements or offers of purchase and sale. Okay.
Right.
I see no other comments. So thank you, Patrick, for taking the time and making those amendments to the application. I take the matter into committee now. Committee members? If there are no comments or concerns or questions, are we ready with the motion? Member McCauley, we can't see you, so you'll have to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm waiting for a motion.
Okay, please go ahead. Do you want to go forward with a motion or?
No, I'm waiting to see if anyone is.
Well,
I see none. Member Gary, go ahead.
Madam Chair, good to see those changes. I would like to move approval of the amended minor variance application, subject to the urban forestry conditions and a Metrolinx condition.
And may I have a seconder? Member Said, go ahead.
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, so Member Said seconds the motion, and all in favor of this motion?
Madam Chair, I'm in favor.
Okay, Member McCauley is also in favor, and all members are in favor of the motion, so the motion's carried, and the application has been approved with as amended and with conditions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we now move to the last item that was held for discussion in the morning agenda, and that is item 17. And item 17 is 34 Waltoness Road. Can we please have the agent Krinal Gianni?
Through the chair, sorry, we're just experiencing some technical difficulty.
In connecting with Krinal? Oh, WebEx. Oh, okay. So we'll give a moment for connecting with Krinal.
Are you sure?
Square feet. Yes.
Square meter. This is 134 square meter or square feet?
Square feet.
Okay, so hello, Kunal and Faisal, we can hear you. So just
Yes.
bear with us for a second. Just give us a minute. One of our members is connecting. We'll give a
Yes.
minute and then we'll come to you.
Thank you.
Just turn your video on. She's good.
We're connected again, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Macaulay, and thank you, Igor, for helping out. Okay, so can we get started, Member Macaulay? You're all set? Okay, perfect. So, Krinal, thank you for your patience. We are looking at your application for 34 Waltoness Road. How would you like to proceed, with questions, or do you want to make a presentation? And I've lost Krinal again. It's one thing or the other. Thank you.
Oh, it's unmute. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, Madam Chair.
Yes, Krinal.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? Yeah.
I can hear you now. Yes, you were temporarily disconnected. So, Krinal, how would you like to proceed, with questions, or do you want to make a presentation?
I can make a presentation for 2 minutes.
Yeah, please go ahead and tell us about your application.
Okay, thank you so much. We have applied for 5 variances in total: FSI, building length, main wall height, balcony, and driveway width. Which are sorry, just a second. Yeah, so we have asked for the main wall height, which is 8.04, so which is lesser than the neighborhood properties. For example, 134 Gradwell Drive, the permissible, the proposed main wall height is 8.53, and 18 Sherwood Avenue, which was approved today. They are proposing the main wall height from 7 meter to 8.2 meters. Also, the proposed building length of the 18 Sherwood is 17.6 meter, where we are asking for 17.5 meter. And about the variance number 5, driveway, there was no intention to propose that variance, but because of the front 0.8 diameter city tree, we had to keep the existing driveway as it is and make the design of the driveway in regards to not to have any impact on that tree. So I would like to request Madam Chair and committee members to approve these variances and consider it as minor in nature. Thank you so much.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to make a comment that yes, we may have approved, or there may be precedents along the street or in the neighborhood for similar situations, but each case is individual and each case is unique. So applications are reviewed and assessed based on the individuality and the uniqueness of each case. Okay, so having something approved in another location doesn't mean that it's good planning. We have to go with case by case. Okay, so but I appreciate that information. That certainly helps. So, committee members, this is an application to demolish existing building and construct new, and there are 5 variances. Variance number 5 is as a result of the existing tree and trying to accommodate that tree.
Yeah.
platforms and the building height, building length, and the FSI. Okay. Any comments, any questions for Kunal? So none at this time, Kunal, but we may come back if you have questions. So I would like to now proceed with speaking with Amit Chakraborty, the neighbor. Amit, are you with us?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Amit. Yes, we can hear
Hi.
you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about this issue. I'll keep it brief. So I looked at the plan, and just I want to just raise few concern. First concern was the variance number 1, where it was 110 square meters high, larger than the zoning bylaw. So I kind of felt like, it's not a minor variance. It's a quite large variance. So I think it may be much bigger than it needs to be for a single family dwelling. The second issue I have is with variance number 3, which is with the height. It's 1 meter higher. I am right across the house. I'm right across the 34 Walton. So, and because it's on the west side, having a higher, taller building will cast a shadow over my property. And then just also have like low sunlight during the afternoon or the evening session of the time. And again, with creating such a large house, it just now sets up a precedence. The applicant talked about 134 Gradwell and other areas, but then those are not in the same area. Gradwell is west of the Kingston Road, so I don't think it quite speaks to the neighborhood. That neighborhood has a lot of single floor, bungalow houses. I'm not opposed to the 2-story house. I'm just kind of opposed to how big the house that they're proposing to build, and that's just gonna make it out of character for the neighborhood. And that's about it. Just about the height. Mostly the height of the building is probably more concerning to me because it's just right across. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, no, you raise a good point. So I just want to clarify one thing here. So you understand that 2 stories is permitted as of right?
Yes.
So here's what I'm going to suggest to help you understand what's happening here. Kelly, do you mind pulling up the elevation drawing for this application that would show the main wall height where the variance is being requested? Just so that we can, sort of explain the difference between the height of the building versus the height of the main walls. Perfect. So as you can see, the height of the total height.
I don't think
you don't
I
see it
quite
yet?
see it yet. I'm probably not appearing yet.
Okay, we'll give a few seconds. It takes a while to upload. So you can't see?
Sorry, it's not appearing yet.
No, that's okay.
But
That's
should I just
okay.
open up the plan? Because I have the I've
Sure, you
downloaded it.
can pull up the plans and I can walk you through. So if you go to the plan that is, I would say proposed front elevation, drawing A07. Okay, so drawing A07 shows the total height of the building. So there's 2 heights at play here. One is the height of the building, like the total height from the average grade or the established grade to the roof peak, or however the height is calculated. And then there is a height of the main wall, which is between the established grade and just before the roof starts. That's the main wall, okay? So the request of the requested variances is not for the total height of the building. It's for that portion, which is called the main wall, which is between the established grade and from where the roof begins. So that required that for that particular section of the building, which is the main wall, the zoning bylaw requires a maximum of 7 meters. But because of the roof style, or because of the design or the type of ceilings that you're trying to accommodate within the building, that portion of the height or the building is more than 7 meters, and that is 8 meters. It does not affect the overall height of the building. We don't have a variance for the overall height. It's only for that portion, from 7 to 8.
Okay, so it's not going to be, so you're saying that it's the height of the building overall is going to probably be the same is within the bylaw. It's just how much of the wall is in comparison to the roof.
That is correct. Yeah, that is correct. So if the application does not require any variance for the overall height of the building, so it meets the overall height of the building, and I don't want to say that number because I don't have that in front of me, but whatever that height of the building is, they meet that regulation. Okay. What they do not meet is that height of that main wall, which is just below where the roof starts, so below the roof and between the established grade. That
Okay,
height
gotcha.
of the main wall is required to be 7 meters, whereas what's being proposed is 8.04.
Okay.
Okay, not that it shouldn't be a concern. It can certainly be a concern to whoever, but what I only wanted to help you understand the difference between the height of the building versus height of the main
Versus the
wall.
height of the wall. Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
I know it took me a while as well to understand all this, so I can appreciate it. It can sometimes cause confusion, but that's the difference between the height of the building versus the height of the main wall. And the variance is for the height of the main wall, okay?
Okay.
All right. And then you had concerns about shadow and whatnot. So a 2-story building is permitted, so whatever shadow is going to cast as a result of a 2-story is what it's going to be. And then
That's
for
what
that
it's
matter,
gonna
I
be.
would say, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure you understood what the variance was for. Any further comment at this time? Okay, let's move forward and we'll go back to Krinal. Krinal.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So you heard the concerns from Amit. He had concerns with the height of the building, so I kind of helped him understand. But if you want to add more, and perhaps you want to provide a justification for why you need that taller main wall, and any other concerns that he raised, would you be able to respond to it, please?
Yes, please. So thank you, Amit, for your concerns. But same as you mentioned, Madam Chair, that we are not going for more than 9 meters, the allowed main wall building height, but we are only asking for 1 meter more for main wall height. And that is because of the mezzanine floor we have proposed and because of the design we did. And that's why we will like to ask for that height approval. Thank you.
What about the size of the house? Why do you think a house of that size is needed for this property?
Madam
It's
Chair,
pretty substantial.
because the owner required this big house because of the accommodation of family, and that's why they required this big house.
Okay. Thank you. Committee members, any questions? I see none. Okay. All right, Colonel. We're going to take the matter into committee. Before I go, I just want to make sure that there were, if there were any conditions. There are conditions. You're right.
Yes, Madam Chair.
So so Urban Forestry has recommended 2 conditions of approval, condition 1 and 2, and then Metrolinx has also suggested or provided a condition of approval. And do you have any concerns with those?
Yeah, we are aware of that.
You're okay with that? Okay, perfect. So let's take the matter into committee. Committee members, any thoughts, any comments? No? Okay, all right. If there are no further questions or concerns or comments, can I please have a motion? Member Say, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I put forward motion for approval of item number 17, subject to urban forestry condition number 1 and 2 and Metrolinx conditions.
Thank you. And may I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I second that motion for approval, subject to the conditions.
Thank you. And all in favor of this motion? The motion is carried unanimously, and the application has been approved. I guess this was the last item on the agenda for the morning session. We have dealt with all the items from 1 to 20, and we are going to be going into a short break. Committee members, we are at 2 o'clock almost. How long a break is the committee looking for? 30 minutes or 15 minutes? 30 minutes? 30 minutes? Okay, so the committee is going to go into a break for 30 minutes, and we should be back at 2:30?
Through the chair, for all the people watching on YouTube, please log out of the current AM stream and log back into the PM YouTube stream on the City Planning YouTube channel if they wish to view the afternoon session.
Thank you very much. So see you at 2:30 for the afternoon sessions, and we'll deal with the rest of the agenda. Thank you.